I say, you have time, because when I was online, he was being sworn in exactly that time. It was fantastic to see that. Very emotional.
How you been?
We have the 5 months before the primaries coming up. And I was amazed when I looked at the numbers for governorship. And I'll pass this out. More people are coming, so I have plenty to share with everyone. But I have to show you what his state donations were and also out-of-state donations. Digital fruits Steve, you're not going to have to run down on us, are you? Hope not. You do a fabulous job. But I want to go over it quickly. When I'm looking at them, and you see this, you're going to see in-state donations. Run down the list, and what I was amazed about is to see that Mace and Johnson were the leaders in donations. Number of donations, and then out of state, of course, Mace was the leader on that also. Well, you have an opportunity, take that and build on that for sure. And then the most common denominator on the money number of maximum donations. Look at the numbers that we're talking about. That was interesting stuff to know. We have been working on the 10 Commandments for the past year. There's a bill, two bills up there now in Columbia. And I have to say that we, not just for school, but also for churches. As you all know, Northern Vineyard churches have 10 Commandments. So we've been working on it, and we've gotten 8 in the Knightsville Methodist Church. We have it not. And then one in each of the 2 Baptist churches located. But we're working on it, and hopefully we get more people to put in their classrooms and see what's going on. If you can't do anything, we should be able to put it in church like it should. The bills that we have up there on the 10 Commandments, they've been sitting in a committee for obvious reasons, and hopefully we can get something out of it. More phone calls, the better off we'll be on that. That's for sure. Would you like to speak about the next subject? Was that basically pulled out your email? Sure. That'd be great. Yeah. Does everyone know, CJ? Yeah. 2 pages, I cut it 4. Is it?
Hi, everybody. My name is CJ Westfall. For those of you guys that don't know me, but good to see you here. Being really quick, I think you guys a really great treat tonight to hear from Mike Burkhold. He's an awesome guy, a great friend, and his wife's amazing too. She just got elected to Sullivan's Island Town Council. So a real treat from a really smart guy. Really quick, this is going to take less than 120 seconds. What I'm here to tell you about tonight. You might have saw in the Post and Courier an article from me today, or if it's news. It was talking about closing primaries. Does everybody know what closing primaries is here? Yes. All that means is that only Republicans should be voting in Republican primaries. It's a common sense thing that for decades Republican activists have advocated for. Unfortunately, state party and House leadership has not listened. Now all of a sudden, there's a guy that prosecuted the Speaker of the House, prosecuted the Senate President, and he might win as our next Attorney General. His name's David Pascoe. He's our current solicitor. She's prosecuted for this area. He decided to switch parties to become a Republican. He's a former Democrat. He did it right here in Dorchester County, and it made national news. Well, a lot of the Columbia Swamp, they've been very uncomfortable by this because he's running on an anti-corruption agenda. So now all of a sudden, the SCGOV has become interested in closing the primaries, and they've added a new little provision called candidate qualifications to disqualify potentially David Pascoe from appearing on your ballot. Our position from our legislative committee, Tommy Fagan, he's here tonight, he was there, is that the people, not party insiders in Columbia, should be choosing our nominees for office. So in conclusion, there's two bills that I want you to keep an eye on. There's House 3310. That's the one that DCRP and Worcester County Republican Party we're going to be supportive of. And then there's 3546, which is the bill that Drew McKissick, the state Republican Party chairman, he is advocating for. And so as we were looking into this today, I was calling state representatives. I'm happy to report, I was on the phone all day today, that Representative Harriet Holman, she took her name off the bill, and 7 total state representatives took their name off the bill after we made them aware of folks like David Pasco being disqualified. We looked into it a little bit further. We have a huge congressional race coming up here in the 1st Congressional District from Beaufort, Berkeley, Charleston, everything in between. With Representative Mace moving on to run for governor, it's an open seat, as you guys have found. There's a guy who's a lieutenant colonel named Alex Peldath. He was the pilot of the last flight out of Kabul in Afghanistan since he was deployed overseas. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to vote and meet this primary requirement that Columbia is trying to put on to candidates. So he would have been able to have voted in the last 2 of the last 3 Republican primaries. The conflict of interest that I think you guys might be interested in is one of his opponents, a Charleston County Councilwoman, Jenny Honeycutt. Her mom serves in that Columbia establishment, in that executive committee. So in theory, if Drew McKissick and the SCGOP were to get their way, Alex Peldath would have to go before them and ask permission to his opponent's mother to appear on your ballot. Yeah, so it's crazy. So in short, to make it super simple, it's a very convoluted issue. We want our primaries closed, period, because that will allow us to have more conservative Republicans and less moderate Republicans in conservative strongholds, like much of Worcester County. And then point number 2, we want to make sure that you guys are choosing our nominees, not party insiders in Columbia. So if you take anything from what I'm saying today, our party is leading the state. We've had folks joining on this effort from Berkeley to York to Greenville to Pickens and everywhere in between, getting legislators to take their name off of Drew McKissick's bad bill and get on board with the clean, closed primaries bill. So if you write anything down, write down House 3310, find out who your state senator is, who your state House representative is, and just say, hey, I want to close the primaries. I'm tired of these rhinos. I'm tired of these weak and moderate Republicans. Please sign on this bill. So that's what we've been working on today. I have a comment. Here, any questions on that, Tommy?
Now, would this be retroactive? The bill went retroactive, Harriet Holman would not be a Republican. I don't think Sam Richardson would be.
No. Sam's voting history is consistent Republican primary voting history, but I do appreciate the sentiment. But he does bring up a good point. We have a sitting state representative that was a county councilwoman, and she decided to change parties because she saw the abortion thing going way too far. And she is a Black Republican woman, and a lot of Black Democrats are pro-life. I don't know if you guys do that. That's a thing in the South. So she decided to change parties in January of 2022, Tommy. In April of 2023, because she didn't meet that requirement within our party, she wasn't able to participate. So my goal is to not let insiders consolidate control in Columbia and allow the people to have the power to choose their nominees. So I think that answers your question. Anything else before I get out of the way? Let Bruce do back to
I'm passing him down. I'm writing out copies. So he is on the second or third page. He supplied the contact information. So the phone numbers that should be there.
So that'll be the Constitutional Law Subcommittee under the Judiciary Committee. For the first time, we've never gotten a committee hearing on closing our primaries. And there might be a guy, some of you guys are Lindsey Graham fans. I'm not this against you, but Lindsey Graham's path in 2020 spent tens of thousands of dollars to oppose this closed primary effort because he knows that he gets to stay in as a moderate Republican when people like independents and Democrats are able to cross over and vote in our primaries. So all I'm saying is this: Republicans should be able to choose the Republican nominees, Democrats should choose the Democrat nominees, and we don't want political insiders in Columbia to hijack that process. The final thing, and I'll get out of here. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I hope you keep in mind all the rule bonds, outstate positions. Sorry.
Now that's what they
I'm very disappointed to see there's so much money from out of state funded out of nowhere.
Yeah. Did you guys hear what he said? He says we need to build to get rid of out-of-state contributors into our statewide races. I'm not in agreement with that one. And Nancy, she's doing digital fundraising, prospecting, renting lists. So I think it's crazy. She can't get donations from here in state. But I do want to leave you with this, guys. If you want to see strong, principled, conservative Republicans like I do, call your state representatives and say, hey, have you had a chance to look at 3310? Please sign on if you agree with it. It's a part of our Republican Party platform. So that's our mission, to advocate for that platform and hold elected officials accountable. With that, anything else?
You can go on to the John Birch Society or on the house site, look at each person and call them. You don't have to worry about, or don't be concerned about they're not your representative. They're all your representatives and all votes. So call as many as you can.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys always having me fun.
Any other questions over the lengthy email? I loved it.
Yes.
The next subject we're going to talk about is the United Nations. So what's the time to talk about the United Nations? For the simple reason that you probably know, some of the people receive information on the United Nations and how to get out of it. John Birch Society has been around for 60 years, 60 plus years. The UN has been around for 80 years. Matter of fact, their anniversary was October this past year. And Senator Lee put together a bill to get us get the UN out of us. And I couldn't have thought of a better time for us to actually push this. So what I did was I took his ad that he's publicizing years ago and and I put the information along with it on who to call each one of our state representatives. You want to call other state representatives? That's fantastic. It's only a plus for us. But if you look at what the UN is doing, it's destroying our country. And I know the depths about that.
And I saw Chairman just asked something. So General over there. Yes, sir.
So the phone numbers are in the back. I gave you all of them. You can't miss them. And the bills in the House and the bill in the Senate. I called all of them. Very few people, the one that I'll hold up, that picked up the phone. Great, congratulations. Have actually heard about it. The more we call, the more we get other people to call, my friends. Mike calls, anybody calls. We can make a dent in this. If you're compared with that, you do our best right now. You put the UN and you look at it. And what I have to congratulate our president to do it. When he was at the UN, he basically told them, you're useless.
Amen. Amen.
And any questions about the UN or the concern about it? If anyone's favor of the UN, you want to speak up about the UN? So this one, we have studied about it. Yeah. There's 195 states. There are 193. I said on 195 states, there are 193 of them in New York, sitting there. Rockefeller gave them the property. God bless them. The Rockefeller who gave them the property. Now we could just get it back. It'd be fantastic.
Is there 7 or 9 security council members? Excuse me? The security council there in the UN. We do have veto power, and we have been able to slow people up to Israel for years and years and years and years. How about if we just defund them and let them move someplace else? No more money. We're going to shut down the border. You can't come here. You're going to have to put your headquarters someplace else.
The last thing I want to say about this organization, within the UN, they have no business for. So with pumping all of the 75 organization for already $15 billion a year.
Defund it. Defund it. Tell us what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I think just yesterday, Donald Trump's administration cut quite a bit of money from the U.S. Like $2 billion, and it was because of all the fraud going on, humanitarian fraud going on for them. So at least that's in the right direction.
And if we can just see that, all right, loads of don't think that your phone calls don't matter, they do.
But it's not goes right there until we has Congress pushing. I mean, he can say if we don't want to be part of it, but Congress still have to stop the funding.
Yeah.
Well, you hand Omar and getting all that money from the Somalis. She's not political.
All I ask for is the phone numbers are there, make the call very quick, very easy. You want to call additional ones in other states, I'm glad to get you close. You don't have to do it on our sites or at the state levels. Of any state you want to do it, it's fantastic. And it does help. When don't get frustrated, just make a call or email me. Then there is a count cost. Last thing I want to do before we turn to our speaker is that there is a newsletter that comes out. It's a relatively new one, another new one. It's called the Liberty Brief. And what they did was they congratulated Mr. Ford, but they also had an article feature on Americans for Prosperity and comparing the John Birch Freedom Index. And I thought that was quite interesting because the American prosperity has everyone rated if they're constitutional or not, and then ours. And you'll see that ours are a lot lower for many of these people. And the reason for it, what I did is I took one of these representatives locally, and I just printed out, because I heard him speak the other night. Quite interesting because he's an attorney and he's a busy guy. And he even said in his speech on the platform that he couldn't make the first week. I said, So I went back and I checked 2025, the first